So obviously, this is my talk I give to various companies and stuff like that. And I thought it'd be a really good idea to record this, so at least I'd have a hard copy of it. So I think now and then, the diet and exercise, it really gets overly complicated, and it really shouldn't be that complicated. It really isn't that complicated, but obviously not that complicated doesn't really sell. People always want to pay to get the quick fix, and the quick fix isn't always the easy option. I've been watching a lot of Arnold Schwarzenegger documentaries recently, and to be fair, he said literally bench press, row, squat. Too many people try to overly complicate exercise and make it into something it's not. I'm not saying the modern way isn't better in some respects, but the modern way isn't the be all and end all to everything. So if you give me 20 seconds, I will just share my screen on here, and I will click my little slideshow here. Boom. So can we all see that? Thumbs up? Yeah, good. So the truth about diet and exercise not being that complicated. So I'm going to try not to do what most speakers do and sit here reading my own slides, because I find that ever so annoying. And I don't want to be one of those really annoying people. So obviously, when you think of diet and exercise, millions and millions of things come to your mind and that. So since I've been working in the fitness industry, you'd be surprised the amount of people that have tried to collab with me, get me to try to sell their crap products, especially Herbalife. Herbalife seems to be the flavor of the month. And probably once a week, once every other week, I'll get a, message of someone from an influencer, shall we say, saying, do you want to sell my stuff? No, I do not want to sell your stuff. Obviously, I'm not dissing all this stuff. I love the Insanity Workout. It's great. Weight Watchers has helped millions of people. But obviously, this industry is worth absolutely billions. And sometimes simple doesn't sell. So it brings me to my first question. So a question I get asked quite a lot is, which exercise is best? Which exercise is best for me? There is absolutely tons out there. Here's just a few examples. So you've got the traditional cardio, cycling, running, swimming, roller skating, rowing, lots and lots of stuff fit into these categories. But I just blanketed them all into that. Obviously got strength training, powerlifting, going to the gym, lifting, stuff like that. Then you've got the CrossFit style classes, the Joe Wicks, the HIIT classes. I must admit, I do teach a lot of HIIT, but on top of another stuff. And my boot camp's actually based on CrossFit, because I love CrossFit and it does get results. And then even golf and horse riding. People that haven't rode a horse probably don't class it as exercise, but it is a good workout. Even like riding your motocross bike can really, really work you out. And then you've got dancing, aquafit. So depending on what stage of life you're in, your body type and that, these are all different questions. So which one of these is actually best? Well, it's obviously my boot camp, isn't it? No. Obviously, I'm just going to shameless plug there, but it's not. And there's a picture of me running through Cork, funnily enough, dressed as a woman in drag at the Cork Mini Marathon. What a good day that was. But the plain truth is, there isn't really an exercise which is best. So when you think of exercise, the one that's best is going to be the one that you stick with. So it's the one that you stick with. So it's obviously going to be something you enjoy. So unless you're training for a specific goal, i.e. a running race, strongman competition, or a boxing match, the list goes on. If you're training for a boxing match, obviously you wouldn't want to be doing loads of running, doing that. You want to be doing sparring. If you're training for a running race, chances are you probably wouldn't want to be going to aquafit and that. So unless you're training for a specific goal, like you want to do a marathon, half marathon, boxing match, strongman competition, pick something you like doing. So like I say, pick something fun you like doing. So I've known Matt for ages through Taekwondo. I've done Taekwondo for 20 years now, on top of other stuff I do. I really, really like doing it. So pick something fun. Pick something that you can do long term. There's millions out there. Don't worry about it being the best exercise. Just pick something fun that you enjoy doing. And pick something you commit to. So obviously, the more you do something, the better you're going to get at it. So there's obviously classes in London that I like doing. There was this handstand class. It was wicked. But obviously, I can't commute to London every week on week. So it's better to pick something local to your work or on your way home that you can commit to every week, because consistency beats just doing a hard session here and there. So obviously, which diet is best? So I am not a dietitian. I can give people healthy guidelines off the plate and stuff like that. But again, diet industry, it's worth absolutely billions. So you obviously got the keto diet. That was just a revamped version of the Atkins diet. That was all the rage a little while ago. The paleo diet, anyone that's done CrossFit, that's basically just eating stuff that's not processed. To be fair, I think that's pretty good. Low carb, again, low carb was really all the rage because apparently carbs are bad. They're not, by the way, but that was all the rage for a while. And juice. So if any of your friends try and sell you any detox juice, Cambridge diet, defriend them. They're probably going to start selling you perfume and other stuff. I do not recommend juice diets at all. Intermittent fasting, obviously, if you're doing Ramadan and that's really applicable. But intermittent fasting, it's really good. But I'm just naming a few: vegan, stuff like that, low fat diet. So there is millions and millions of diets out there. And this isn't even including Slimming World, Weight Watchers, anything like that. So which diet is best? And it's obviously this McDonald's diet, isn't it? No, I'm just messing. But it just goes to show you can lose weight on nearly anything. This guy had McDonald's for 180 days, wrote a book about it, lost 60 pounds. Really good. But I'm not saying you should eat McDonald's, by the way. So again, your diet, it depends on your goal. But I think people can safely say, stick to guidelines. So eat fresh food wherever possible. So fresh food is obviously going to contain more micro and macronutrients, and it's not going to be processed, because when you start processing stuff, you get loads of preservatives, all sorts of chemicals put in it. So try to eat fresh food. I know it's not always easy, especially fresh food doesn't last long, but try to eat fresh when you can, or frozen. Frozen's a really good shout, because I know G's locally, they do field to freezer, and I think it's 4 hours from when they get it off the field and into a freezer. Eat different color foods. So obviously the rainbow of foods, the more different color foods you eat, the more micronutrients they're going to have in, and the better going to be for you. So I know they say you should have 5 fruit and veg a day. They did put it up to 7, but I think realistically 5 is a good shout. So eat as many different colors as you can, because they're going to contain different nutrients. Eat enough protein. So most of my PT clients that come to me, this is the biggest downfall. So ideally, you need to aim for 1.5 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. People that go, that's unrealistic. It's not unrealistic. I eat over 200 grams of protein a day. It is doable. It just takes some smart thing. Obviously, protein is going to have the biggest effect if you're following an exercise program, or even if you're just dieting and that. Eat foods that are not processed. So everyone knows that, like Mackie D's and stuff like that. It doesn't contain much protein. It's full of different chemicals and stuff. I won't go into the science behind it, but trust me, processed foods are not great. But sometimes we have to make sacrifices and eat that, but try to limit it. Again, limit alcohol and sugar. So most people that know me do know I like a beer, and I am partial to a Snickers bar. But there's no doubt, and you end up wasting days upon days drinking, and then losing the day after because you're hungover. All them excess calories, they're not really good for anything. And the same with sugar, and that sugar's great, but then you get the high as well as the low. Sorry. Drinking water as well. So drink 2 liters of water a day. Again, I was really surprised how many people do not drink 2 liters of water a day. Again, I drink 3 to 4, probably because I do lots of exercise, and I'll make it habit as well. Drink 2 liters of water a day. So I'm going to go on to these again in a minute, and then have a little of something you like every now and again. Just because you're trying to be healthy doesn't mean you're going to have a chicken salad every day. Just do it in moderation. Say 80% of the time, eat something that's good. 20% of the time, be a little bad. That way you won't miss it. So obviously macros, all the food you eat can be broken down into 3 main macros. So you got protein, fat, and carbs. You see the percentages there. They're a rough guesstimate, depending on what you do, whether you're training hard, whether you eat lots of sweet food and whatnot. They're going to change. Apart from protein, protein should always be the same, but it might be 10 to 30%, depending on how much you weigh and how active you are. So obviously you can see by my slides, protein contains 4 calories per gram, carbs contain 4 calories per gram, and fats contain 9 calories per gram. So that's where people get that fats make you fat. No, fats do not make you fat. Eating too much fat makes you fat, and it's easy to overeat on fat because it's 9 calories per gram. It's nearly, well, it's over 2 times more than the previous 2 macronutrients, but I won't go into too much detail here. So the macronutrients, protein, I spoke about it earlier. Eating high protein foods has many fitness benefits, and I know I just read that off my slide, and I'm not sorry about it. So obviously it's going to help speed up recovery after exercise. Think of protein as the building blocks of all the cells in your body. Imagine someone saying to you, you need to build a house, but they're not giving you bricks, they're giving you some crappy rubble, and you try to get this house together, a bit like the 3 Little Pigs analogy. Protein is going to give your muscles, if you're doing the work, the optimum conditions to grow. It's also going to reduce muscle loss. So if you're dieting and having a lot of protein, it's going to help keep the muscles you have. Again, it's really good. It's going to help build lean muscle. So the more protein you have, up to 2.2 grams, it's going to create optimum conditions for your muscles to grow. And it's going to help you maintain a healthy weight. So most people I know that struggle with fat loss or are slightly overweight generally don't have enough protein. People think they're having enough protein, but they're not having enough protein. I'll touch on that in a minute. It's going to help curb hunger as well. So if you're eating protein-rich foods, chances are you're not going to be as hungry as someone who's not eating enough protein. And like I said, most people don't eat enough. When we touch back on this in a minute, I'll show you how you can track it. And I guarantee you're probably not having enough protein, because only one of my PT clients out of probably a lot have been having enough protein, and that's only because she worked for M&S and she had an M&S card, and M&S food seems to be full of protein, so it's all good. So carbohydrates, most people know what carbohydrates are. Generally they think of bread and stuff like that, but carbohydrates are your body's main source of energy. They honestly, all your muscles have carbohydrates in them. It's your body's go-to energy source. You see a lot of these endurance athletes on these low carb diets, and that it's been scientifically proven that carbohydrate is the best source of energy. So obviously there is different sorts of carbohydrates. There's complex and there's simple. We'll go over that in a minute. But obviously, if you do lots of exercise, a lot of people really cut the carbs back, again, because it's got this weird thing that carbs will make you fat. Carbs will not make you fat. If you're eating lots of carbs, it's going to fuel your workouts. It's going to make you work harder. And then it's obviously going to cause progressive overload, and you're going to get better. So try to eat complex over simple. So simple carbs are like chocolate bars, chips, stuff like that, as opposed to potatoes. Even bread's not too bad, to be fair, but complex is going to keep you feeling fuller for longer. I know that's a bit difficult, but complex over simple. So that brings me to fat. So your body needs fat. So a while ago, fat got a really bad reputation. That people kept saying fats make you fat, and then the whole egg thing, where eggs will pretty much kill you and stuff like that. Fats are obviously an essential part of a healthy, balanced diet. All your cells have fats in them, and you actually need these essential fatty acids. Your body cannot make these themselves. So it's something you need to bring into the body. Your body can't produce it. So if you're not getting enough, you're screwed, and you're going to get nasty side effects off that. So like I said, eating fat will not make you fat. Eating too much fat will make you fat, but then eating too much carbs will make you fat. It's generally you're eating too many calories, not a specific food group. Lots of food groups get tainted with a bad brush, like a good food, a bad food. If you're putting on weight, you're eating too much food. You're not eating the wrong food. It's as simple as that. So obviously there's good fats and bad fats. So good fats, if you're not a vegan or anything, eating fish is really good. for omega-3s and omega-6s. If you are vegan, you need to supplement these in your diet because your body needs these. Again, I won't go into too much detail, but you need fat. And there's this keto diet at the moment, and people will tell you that you're burning fat for fuel. Well, if you're only eating fat, of course you're burning fat for fuel because your body has no other option. There is this thing called ketosis where you limit your carbs, your body goes into fat burning mode. You are not burning your body's fat. You still need to go into a deficit for that. You're burning all the fat you eat. So this keto diet that was all the rage the other year, I am pretty much bashing this keto diet, but a lot of people are on it for the wrong reasons, and it's incredibly difficult to stick to. So the simple bits, how to lose weight or build muscle, what everyone wants. So these are the bits that get overly complicated because obviously the diet and exercise industry want to tart these up and sell them to you in a product. So regardless of whether you're losing weight or you want to build muscle, you're still going to eat the same amount of protein. You're aiming for 1.5 to 2.2 grams of grams per kilo of body weight. So people think, I need to eat less. No, you need to eat the same amount of protein, regardless of whether you're building muscle or losing weight. Your workouts are going to stay the same. Again, I know you see on YouTube, especially Instagram, this 7-minute fat ab buster workout or how to lose bingo wings. You cannot spot reduce fat. The only way to lose fat is in a calorie deficit. By that, I mean you eat less calories than you burn. So your workouts are going to stay exactly the same, regardless of whether you're building muscle or you're losing fat. This is where people get complicated. The only thing that's going to change is your calories. So your protein is going to be the same, your carbs, your fats. Again, if you're not training for a race or a sport or anything like that, you don't need to really worry about the ratio of that. The only thing that's going to vary is your calories. So you need to work out your maintenance. So you can go on a lot of these calculators online, and what they'll give is a base figure for your maintenance calories. So this is what you need to eat through the day to maintain your weight. So a lot of people go on these stupid diets where they're eating like 1,100, 1,200 calories a day. You do not need to go that much into a deficit. For instance, my maintenance is actually 3,500 calories. So if I eat less than 3,500 calories a day, I lose weight. If I eat more, I gain weight. So you need to work out your maintenance. You can do this on a calculator online, but you will need to track, and working out your maintenance from there is a bit trial and error, because although it gives you a figure, you can still, it still might vary a bit. So a deficit, if you want to lose weight, you need to be in a deficit. So if you get your maintenance, you want to minus 500 calories off of it and see how you go from there. If you're incredibly hungry in that, you might need to add a bit more or look at the foods you're eating, but you're just taking 500 calories off your maintenance to lose weight. You're not going to a bigger deficit thinking you'll lose weight faster. You probably will lose weight faster, but then it won't be sustainable. And then you'll go raid the Snickers bars in my case, or you'll be really knackered. It'll screw up your recovery. Again, if you're training really, really hard, you probably don't want to have such an aggressive deficit. You want to be going for 200-300 calories at most. Otherwise, it will screw your recovery up big time. Again, if you want to gain weight, you need to be in a surplus. So you see these bodybuilders that build up lots of muscles. It's called bulking. That's been proven not to work. So scientifically, so if you want to gain weight, eat 200-300 calories extra a day, and that'll give your body optimum conditions to get muscle growth and for you to get bigger. That's if you want to gain weight. Believe it or not, you can actually build muscle and lose weight at the same time. Scientifically, muscle and fat are two different compositions. Your muscles cannot turn to fat, and you cannot turn fat to muscle. You can lose fat while building muscle. And obviously, if you're not working out, you can lose muscle while probably eating too much and get fat. You can still build muscle in a deficit. It's not optimal, but if you're a beginner, it's a really good place because you're going to get those results. If you've been training a long time, it's going to be slightly harder, but it is scientifically proven you can actually build muscle in a deficit, and you can lose weight and build muscle at the same time. So If you want to do this, I always get my clients to track on MyFitnessPal. Track absolutely everything you eat. Track the bread, track the margarine you have, the sauce, track everything on MyFitnessPal. It's not an exact science. Make sure you weigh your food for the first couple of 3 days, and then you'll have an idea of what you're actually eating. This is a bit of a ball ache, but it will teach you how much calories are all in the food you eat, how much protein's in the food you eat, and then you're basically educating yourself from there. So MyFitnessPal, really, really recommend it. I use it all the time as well. It is a great app and it's free. You can pay for some features on it, but to be honest, you don't really need to. So NEAT. So again, I'm reading my slide. Why is NEAT important? So NEAT stands for non-exercise activity thermogenesis. So basically, this is what you do in the day when you're not sleeping, you're not exercising. It's basically you're painting the shed, you're doing the lawn, you're walking around work. If you work in have a manual job, cutting stuff and that, it's doing that. It's what you do in the day. So if you want to lose weight, this is going to have the biggest impacts over anything you can do. So I would say aim for 10,000 steps a day. I've been running a step challenge for a company in Cambridge recently, and I've had the step figures of over 100 people on a database. And you'd be surprised how many people do not hit this 10K steps a day. So this is obviously going to make the biggest difference on your overall health, not the workout you've done, especially if you're sitting at a desk all day, every day. Aim for 10,000 steps a day. You don't have to do 10,000 in one big hit. You can go for a walk around the block. You can walk to the coffee machine. You can leave your car further away in the car park at work, but doing 10,000 steps a day is a really good benchmark of where you're at. I generally get between 20 and 30,000 a day. People say that's impossible. It's not if you're reasonably active. So like I said before, this will have the biggest overall impact on your overall health. So not if you're doing a workout for say half hour, that's 2% of your day. And then you spend the rest of the day either in bed, sitting on the sofa watching Netflix or sitting at a computer, you're not going to be doing too many steps. Get out and do the steps. It's going to work your heart and work your muscles. And a lot of the time, people don't class it as exercise, but it is exercise. You can obviously get out on the bike, but just remember when you're out on the bike, you generally need to do 3 times more than you will to walk. So say you walk in an hour, you probably have to do, I say walking, running an hour, you probably have to do 3 hours on the bike to get a similar workout. So that brings me to sleep. So most of us don't get enough sleep. I've been up since 4 a.m. this morning, so I probably fall into that. So after this, I will probably be zonko because I'm up again at 5 tomorrow. So I don't need to tell you, sleep is like food for your brain. If you're not getting it, it sucks. So it's obviously really important for your physical and mental health well-being. So if you're having a really bad day and you've had no sleep, it's obviously going to exacerbate it and make it it's going to make it worse. The amount of times that I've been mucking around with stuff, especially design programs when I worked in engineering, and then it's like you could be looking at gibberish and then you just come back the next day and absolutely smash it. Obviously, getting enough sleep is really, really important. And it's obviously like a recharge. So it's obviously going to repair all your muscles. It's going to help get glycogen to the muscles again. It's going to help your muscles grow. So sleep. Apparently, sleep is like the most underused weapon in professional athletes, and that you can get similar results from just getting enough sleep than you can by taking like anabolic steroids and stuff like that. Getting enough sleep is really, really important. And obviously, if you have lots of alcohol and stuff, whether you think it does or not, whether you think it helps you sleep, it does have a detrimental effect on your sleep. So I don't need to tell you, it can help you feel better, think more clearly, concentrate better, and it obviously gives you energy. So we all know what we're like when we don't have enough sleep, myself included. So Dido weeks and cycling, I'm just going to touch over this because a lot of people don't know what we're at. So not sure if you can see my mouse cursor here, but if you said this little bit down the bottom here is unfit, up here is fit, and that people think it is a straight line journey. It really isn't. So what you're doing is you're progressively overloading the muscles, and then you start to go down. Then you taper off a bit. you get stronger, then you taper off a bit, you get stronger. If you're smashing workouts all the time, what you get is like a negative cycle. So where this little graph here, it would go down and down and down and down. So I run my bootcamp classes in a 4 or 5 week cycle using a rebuild and base week. So at the beginning of the month, we have a deload week. So this is where we concentrate on form, technique. You're not going to lose any of the fitness, although a lot of people think you will. You won't. Your body is actually going to recharge, and it's going to prepare it for the onslaught that goes for the rest of the month. With the rest of the month, we have a gradual build week after week, getting harder and harder and harder. And then at the end of the month, we have like a hell week. But it just causes damage, causes progressive overload. You get fitter, we bring it back a bit, and it obviously makes you stronger. So, like I just said, it's not actually beneficial to go hard all the time. Again, if you go hard all the time, it's just going to have a negative effect on your training. I must admit, in my 20s, I was probably a lot more fitter. I could definitely recover a lot more. But if you go hard all the time, you're going to end up injured. You're going to end up burnt out. Sometimes I probably should take my own advice with this, but don't go hard all the time. So like I said, increased chance of burnout or injury. So there's nothing worse than if you've got an exercise class, and especially if it's something you love doing and you go and you think it's a chore. You do not want to be doing that. 80-20 method. So Sarah probably knows a bit about this. So again, you don't want to be smashing workouts all the time. So I try to keep a lot of my workouts 80%, so low intensity, under 130 heart rate, and 20% high intensity. So for me, that's over about 155 heart rate, and that it'll all vary for different people. So when I go hard, I go really hard. It's obviously pushing your body. It's causing challenges, and the rest I build up with volume. So basically, I'm getting stronger. I'm going through the motions. Again, you could translate this to martial arts with going through patterns and stuff like that. You could think, well, I'm not smashing it all the time, but you're actually learning a skill, and this is low intensity volume. So it's obviously helping your recovery. So like I just said, do high intensity, do all the other easy. Steady state cardio and strength training is not your friend. If you're doing it at a steady state, you're not challenging your body enough that it's going to provide the stimulation, so it's going to grow. But you're challenging it enough so you still feel it and you're not recovering. So you either really want to be going high or you really want to be going low. Steady state is not your friend. And if you're watching this and you're a bit complicated, you think this is a bit complicated, don't worry about it. So like I said, avoid doing steady state. Steady state is not your friend. You either want to be going reasonably easy or you want to be going all out effort. Steady state, it's not your friend. It's not going to do you any favors. So like I say, the key takeaways to this: my classes are the best exercise ever. No, shameless plug. But find an exercise you like. There is millions out there. If you go to, I don't know, for instance, you go to jazzercise with your friend and you don't like jazzercise, find something else. There is a million classes out there. I'd never tell, just because you think you should be going, it's a chore. There's going to be something out there you like. Find an exercise you like. Be consistent with it. Aim for 2-3 times a week if you can. If you can't, just do what you can. And aim for 150 minutes a week of steady state exercise. It seems like a lot, but it's not. Brisk walking and stuff like that, still counts as that. So you can go out for a walk with your friend, you can chat about how lockdowns sucked and that, and it's still going to class as steady state. Eat enough protein. So obviously aim for 1.5 to 2.2 grams of protein per kilo of body weight. And to get that, track stuff. If you track stuff every now and again, it's not going to be the end of the world. If you did it for 2 weeks, you'd learn a lot in your own diet. So eat a healthy, balanced diet. So by healthy, I don't mean never have McDonald's if you like McDonald's, never have a drink if you like a drink, but try to eat foods that are not processed. If you like meat, lean meat, because it contains less calories and still contains all the protein. If you're a vegan or a vegetarian, it's going to be a little harder, but it is doable, and there are books out there on it. So Obviously, different colors, different micronutrients. I haven't gone over the micronutrients because I don't think it's applicable to many people. Drink 8 big glasses of water a day. So 2 liters. People find this a real chore, but it really isn't that bad. Just get up in the morning, have a glass of water, have one at break time, have another one at break time. Obviously, you don't want to be dehydrated. Your body doesn't work well. Imagine if you was running your car on red all the time. It's not going to be great. So do that. Then again, if you need to lose weight, track everything and create a bit of a deficit. Don't get caught up in the healthy meal, non-healthy meal. Oh God, I shouldn't be doing this. All you need to worry about is protein and being in a deficit if you want to lose weight. One of my girlfriend's friends, she lost 11 stone just eating Walker's crisps all the time. I wouldn't recommend eating Walker's crisps all the time, but it's just saying you can lose weight on anything. It's not healthy eating Walker's crisps or that McDonald's guy by all means, but just create a bit of a deficit. And to do that, get your maintenance and minus 500 off it. If you're struggling, just reevaluate it. It's easy enough that. The only time that's not applicable is if you're a woman going through the menopause. Obviously, that's going to be a bit harder. Or if you've got a thyroid problem. There are other conditions like polycystic ovaries and stuff like that, but I won't cover. For the majority of people, if you want to lose weight, just move more, eat less. Obviously, that doesn't apply to everyone, but 90% of the population, it does. And like I said, move more in the day. So if you've got a meeting or something in work, if you're sedentary, just, I don't know, pick up the phone, walk around a bit in the meeting, have a standing meeting, get a Bluetooth headset, go for a walk. It's basic simple. If you move more, you'll feel better for it. And then get 8 hours sleep. So if you do all of these things, you're still going to die anyway. But you're going to have a healthy and happy life doing it. So I've got friends who are my age, they struggle to run after their kids and stuff like that. They've got no energy. It's generally because these simple bits, they're not doing. It is really that simple. No matter how you want to look at it in different exercise programs, all diets create a deficit. That's how you lose weight. To get stronger, you just progressively overload the muscle, depending on how you work it. And just eat right and you'll be happy. So, and last but not least, be a little bad sometimes. So if you really love doing stuff, just be a little bad sometimes. Being a little bad sometimes is good. And then you're not going to feel like you're missing out. There's nothing worse than going to your friend's party and you're sitting there and you'd be like, well, I'm tracking what I eat. But still track what you eat when you go to your friend's party. Because I went to Wicken Beer Festival once, tracked everything I ate. And I think I hit 9,000 calories with alcohol and barbecue. So then you can look back and they give you a story to tell about that time you went to a barbecue and you ate 9,000 calories. So that's it. Okay, apart from feel better, that's the last one. So obviously if you do all this, you're going to feel great. So has anyone got any questions? Anything? You can take yourself off mute, by the way. I like to think you can. I will stop the screen sharing. Boom. Anyone got anything? I was going to actually add a tumbleweed to that last slide because it's usually the case. So there. So I will stop this recording now. Boom.